Good morning, everybody. My name is Tommaso Adami. I'm one of the teachers from English Corner, and this morning I will be with you for our weekly scheduled newspaper and coffee. It's the first time that I'm doing it. I'm very, very excited to share an article that I found and I deem very interesting, and I would like to share with you. So before we start, once again, good morning, everybody. Here in Milan, it's not the prettiest of days. It's kind of foggy and cold and cloudy. So, yeah, not a beautiful sunny morning like we were all hoping, unfortunately. However, I hope that this article will bring some energy to your morning before you start working. Okay, perfect. So if I'm if I'm your teacher at English Corner, you know that I have a soft spot. You know that I have a passion for sport in general. And this Sunday in the United States, it's time for the Super Bowl. Now, what is the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl is the final of the NFL, the National Football League. So the two best teams in the NFL, they square up and they face off this Sunday in Tampa Bay. The two teams that are going to play are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, captained by Tom Brady, you might know the name, and the Kansas Chiefs that were a revelation in last year's tournament. Now, why am I talking about the Super Bowl? Because historically in the United States, the Super Bowl is very, very famous for its commercials. In fact, it's an event that everybody's watching. So, big brands like Coca Cola, Budweiser, and so on, they can really spend a lot of money on cool advertisement that everybody in the nation is going to see. But this year, things are going to be quite different because of the coronavirus pandemic. So I found this interesting article on Bloomberg. Bloomberg is a media and financial company based in New York, and they also have a magazine. And in this magazine, in this article, we will see how things are going to change for big companies in the Super Bowl ad industry this year. The title of the article is Super Bowl Ad Challenge. Get noticed, avoid irking viewers. So to irk, it means to annoy somebody. The article is by Jerry Smith. It came out yesterday. And it says marketers adapt to COVID challenges on both sides of the camera. Coca Cola, Hyundai, among major brands sitting out this time. So we already know that some big brands are not going to air commercials. When we talk about ads and commercials, we can use the verb to air. All right, so I'll start reading the article. We've got a funny picture here. It says character from Mountain Dew's upcoming Super Bowl. Okay, it's a watermelon dog. I'm gonna start reading. When Mountain Dew released the teaser of its new Super Bowl commercial last week, the clip featured a computer animated dog made of watermelons and no people. So that's exactly what we see in the picture. That was by design. With COVID 19 still spreading, Mountain Dew's ad agency made the spot with as small a crew as possible and as far apart as the team could keep them. Producers watched the shoot from home. A backup crew was ready to replace anyone who tested positive. We created the majority of it in CGI, said Joan Doris, head of integrated production at TBWA Chiat Day, New York, the Omnicom Group Inc. division that made the spot for PepsiCo Inc.'s Mountain Dew brand. So, Mountain Dew is a drink, and in this paragraph, we can find an interesting acronym CGI. They say that they created the majority of the spot in CGI. This acronym stands for Computer Generated Imagery. So, on the set, not much was needed. They just needed to recreate this funny watermelon dog, and then they developed the rest of the commercial thanks to computers. So CGI stands for computer generated imagery. Let's keep reading. In ways big and small, this year's Super Bowl commercials have been shaped by the pandemic, from who advertises and who doesn't, to the messages they deliver for brands that have chosen to take the plunge at $5.5 million dollars per 30-second spot. No one wants to anger COVID wary consumers on a national scale with one pricey ad or become the object of social media scorn. Okay, so this is a very interesting part of the article. It says that the Super Bowl commercials have been shaped by the pandemic. So some people, some companies have decided to not advertise their product. If you think that 30 seconds of a spot cost $5.5 million, there is a very high possibility that consumers will be offended. Meaning, at a time where I'm struggling, how is it possible that you spend $11 million for a 1 minute spot? So let's say that companies have had to be very, very careful. Let's keep reading. A few Super Bowl stalwarts like Budweiser and Coca Cola have decided to sit out. Meanwhile, some first time advertisers will highlight how their products are relevant in the social distancing era. So, two big players like Budweiser and Coca Cola are not playing the ad game this year, while there are some companies that will advertise their products for the first time. So, let's try to find out who are these companies. The Super Bowl is the most watched television event of the year, giving advertisers a rare chance to reach a mass audience in a fragmented media world. Here we can see a little graph that shows last year's Super Bowl set and advertising record for the big game. So basically, we have all the different TV channels, CBS, Fox, NBC, and CBS again, and we can see how much money they got thanks to ads last year. But the number of viewers watching the game has been declining after hitting a record in 2015 when 114.4 million people tuned in. And with streaming services drawing away much of traditional TV's audience, even the Super Bowl is a tougher sell. CBS said last week it had virtually sold out its inventory for the February 7th matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kansas City Chiefs. This is a difficult one. Kansas City Chiefs. But that's much later than Fox Corp a year ago, a sign that demand may have been tepid. The pandemic fueled economic upheaval marked by restaurants closing and the collapse in the movie and travel businesses has forced advertisers to cut their budgets. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. We are halfway through our article in which we are analyzing the situation for companies trying to advertise during the Super Bowl, which is considered one of the biggest sporting events in the world and surely the biggest in the United States. The title of the next section is Harder to Justify. Let's see what it refers to. In an environment where businesses are scrutinizing every investment, a $5.5 million Super Bowl unit becomes harder to justify, said Jason Kanefsky, Chief Investment Officer at the ad agency Havas Media, part of the French media giant Vivendi SA. For the first time in 37 years, Budweiser won't air a Super Bowl ad. Instead, the beer maker, famous for its Clydesdale horses, will donate to a vaccine awareness ad campaign. Its owner, Anheuser-Busch InBev NV, difficult names, still bought commercial time for other brands like Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade, and Michelob Ultra. So Budweiser will promote other products, but not their main one, which is the lager beer. What about Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola Company, which has struggled with the closing of theaters and restaurants, said it's sitting out this year to invest in the right resources during these unprecedented times. Pepsi Company won't have a Super Bowl ad for its flagship product this year, though it will sponsor the halftime show and have spots for Mountain Dew and Frito-Lay. Now remember that these companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they do not only produce their flagship products, so the Coca-Cola drink and the Pepsi drink. Pepsi, for example, is an empire. They decided not to promote their main product, but to promote Mountain Dew and Frito-Lay instead, similarly to what Budweiser did. The next section is called Pandemic Dilemma. Hyundai Motor America decided to pass on the big game after winning praise for a funny Boston themed commercial during last year's Super Bowl. The timing of vehicle launches played a role in the decision, but as the car maker made its marketing plans last year, the pandemic had created too much uncertainty. 6 months ago, we didn't even know where we'd be with the Super Bowl in February, Chief Marketing Officer Angela Zepeda said in an interview. It was a big thing to bank on. Still, every year brings first time advertisers hoping to generate buzz, to generate some noise. This year's group includes several companies referencing the pandemic. Scott's Miracle Grow Company will use its first Super Bowl ad to remind viewers that backyards can provide a refuge for people stuck at home, allowing them to socialize safely, exercise, and work remotely. Hmm. So we see that there are these new companies that are referencing the pandemic and they are focusing the attention on the audience on something different than just a product. Let's see a few more examples. Vroom Inc., an online used car marketplace, will use its first Super Bowl commercial to highlight how consumers can have a vehicle brought to them contact free. Its Super Bowl ad features a man being physically tortured at a car dealership, then cuts to him sitting in front of his lawn as a car is delivered. Very nice. So, a lot of some players in the industry are deciding to focus the attention on the fact that their business can give you something contact free in complete safety. Very interesting idea. You also have to keep in mind that Super Bowl commercials and ads tend to be funny in order to get consensus and laughter from the viewers. So in this case, there is a man at a car dealership who is being physically tortured, and then the scene cuts to him sitting in his backyard with a car being delivered. We're almost over with the article, but let's read the end of it and let's see what Peter Scher, the company's chief marketing officer, says. We've seen considerably more interest in the model during this pandemic, said Peter Scher, the company's chief marketing officer, noting many car dealerships have been closed. We are looking to bring mass awareness to the brand, and there is no bigger stage to do that than the Super Bowl. We've got a last section to our article with a very interesting title. The title is Real Life Couple. Let's see what it's all about. Meanwhile, many Super Bowl advertisers have been forced to adapt as the pandemic placed limits on productions. Mercari Inc., an online marketplace for clothing, electronics, and other products, employed actors who were already living together. We were able to capture authentic interactions between the actors by featuring a real life couple and roommates, said John Lagerling, Chief Executive Officer of Mercari US. DraftKings Inc. said it purchased the sports betting industry's first ads for the big game. It will air two 15-second commercials designed to drive fans toward a free to play contest that will ultimately award $55 million dollars to contestants who answer the most questions correctly. It makes more sense for the company to advertise on the Super Bowl now because sports betting is legal in more states. DraftKings can accept wagers in 14 states, up from one in 2019. So we're seeing two completely different companies, the second of which is in the betting industry. You know that the United States are a federal nation. Not in every state, sorry, betting is allowed. But if in 2019 people could play this game only in one state, now they can do it in 14, which is not bad if we consider that the United States have got 50 states. Let's finish our article. Every year, Super Bowl advertisers try to strike the right tone. Some attempt to address current events without saying something that could spark a political backlash or ridicule on social media. With much of the country struggling from pandemic and deeply divided, the stakes are particularly high. This paragraph basically means that this year, if you want to air an advertisement during the Super Bowl, you should be very careful with what you say because the country is deeply divided and the world is struggling from the pandemic. We know that social media are very quick in criticizing someone, in making something go viral for the wrong reasons, so it's better to play it safe. And that's also a perfect backdrop for humor, giving viewers a diversion in hard times. People have had a tough year, said Doris from TBWA Chiat Day, New York. They may be looking for relief, to have fun and enjoy the game and have something to make them laugh. Very nice article, in my opinion. I hope that you enjoyed it. We were talking once again about the advertisement industry in the during the Super Bowl game. The Super Bowl is the final of the NFL, the National Football League played in the United States. Millions of viewers from all over the world, but especially from the United States, are watching television. And so some big brands spend big money, $5.5 million dollars for advertisements of 30 seconds. So $11 million dollars for advertisements of 1 minute. In this article, we were seeing how the situation has changed this year given the current situation with the coronavirus. So, some big players like Budweiser and Coca Cola decided to sit out to not sponsor their flagship products. But at the same time, there are some new companies that are promoting their business during the Super Bowl for the first time in their history, especially companies that saw a raise in shares and in sales during the coronavirus pandemic, especially online services. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. It was the first time that I was reading you the newspaper in the morning. It's early, I have to admit. It takes a second to get started. I need to drink more water next time. Still, I hope that you enjoyed it. Even if the weather is not that great, I wish you all a very good day and a good end to your week. I shall talk to you next week. Bye bye, everybody.